Biofuels, one of the solutions to sustainable renewable energy or part of the problem?
Biofuels are really important to California's energy future. So when we look at the entire energy system, even if we implemented all of the efficiency measures that we can think of, electrified as much of the light-duty fleet as we think is possible by 2050, and implement renewables, there's still a large portion of especially heavy-duty transport that just cannot be met by these other energy sources. You need a very dense liquid fuel to move big trucks and airplanes. Another area where we see biomass being important is in renewable source of natural gas to help with intermittency problems with renewable technologies such as wind and solar.
But how do we get there sustainably, without damaging the environment? Heather takes a full picture view as she and her colleagues research the future of biofuels.
We're really looking to try and use any sort of sustainably produced biomass. So for example, in the state of California, if we look at biomass that's produced in agriculture, that would be considered waste biomass. So these would be like orchard prunings, vineyard trimmings, rice straw, the parts of the plant that aren't used for other means. The other thing that we look at are specifically dedicated energy crops. And these would be things that, again, are not going to compete for food acreage or food production. Things like perennial grasses. Prairie grass is there's a few types that we're looking into. A large biomass producing plant called miscanthus that's a perennial grass. Or looking at perennial short rotation woody crops. Willow and poplar are two examples. For California, we were very interested in crops that could be grown in arid regions. So one of the plants that we're starting to do some research on now is agave.
She stresses that deforestation or converting natural habitats for biofuel production is not an option.
If we go in and take a piece of land that had been in farming production, is no longer being used, and we can make something useful out of it for energy, then that would be considered a very positive change. We're at the beginning of this process for next generation biofuels, and we're sort of at the top of that learning curve. So there's a big role right now for research in trying to come up with better feedstocks and better practices, better microbes or catalysts for conversion, and then really understanding the environmental impacts. So looking on the ground at what the impacts in soil and in air and biodiversity are.